So I began my design career in furniture about 5.5 years ago, and I have a very different background. So I'm not a trained furniture designer. I didn't study furniture design. I didn't study industrial design. I studied graphic design and then worked in interior design for 16 years. And the only reason I left the interior design is because I felt I didn't have enough creative freedom. We would get a brief and the work would always be compromised by the budget or by the brief, and I just wanted full creative control. So, like a lot of my work in furniture is very personal for me. I design from a place of my own experiences. So I think that maybe that might be one of the reasons why my work kind of stands out, set apart, and has that kind of style, because it is a very personal thing for myself. I look at it more as artwork, and as a result, that it has kind of become more of a flexible kind of like design. I mean, it was never intended to be collectible design. I just wanted to design, and then it just ended up people just taking an interest in it for their homes and wanting to customize it and create their own versions of it. One of the most challenging projects probably would be the container table. How that was created during the pandemic, and I had designed that, during isolation, like in Melbourne. So there was a lot of challenging aspects around kind of sourcing the materials, getting the materials made. I had to design in at home, which kind of, it was, for me, it's kind of like did really get me through, to have that kind of correct outlook. So that's what I put a lot of my emotions and a lot of my feelings into that work. But the challenge was really getting it made. So I had it done. So a lot of the pieces that I couldn't do myself, like the wood spinning, was done in another workshop, which was then delivered. So it was all kind of like pieced together in my studio, and I designed and had all of the work, the glass cut, and then that was all bonded in my studio. I love London, and I thought I'd always like to stay there. And then I met an Aussie, my partner's Australian, and then we decided to move to Melbourne, and that was really when I started to begin to open my mind up to the possibilities of designing my own work. And I think that it could have been any city really that would have pushed me to do that, because I kind of gave myself a blank canvas of in my life and in my design experience, where I could kind of recreate my narrative of where I go from now. So kind of that Melbourne, for that reason, kind of sprang me into that kind of route. Design community as a whole in Melbourne, I find very supportive, and it's like it feels like there's a movement happening there in terms of the design industry, and because of that, everyone's very supportive of each other. It's a very creative, thriving environment to be in, and it makes things feel more, I guess, a little bit more achievable. People have got a bit more support, so I think that's probably the reason, one of the ways Melbourne has influenced my work, and also collaboration as well. Like I collaborate with a lot of local designers in Melbourne, and that's why I like to keep it local, so that I'm able to meet people that are really are experts in their craft, and then collaborate with them and learn from them, and be able to kind of like work on projects and create something together, which is, for me, it's very important, because this is kind of like I'm kind of self-taught. I'm learning as I go. For me, the local design community is kind of like, I wouldn't have been able to achieve so far without the support and of the Melbourne design community, and that's whether it be galleries, kind of the publications, other designers, makers, suppliers. It's just it's very important. I feel like whenever I work with somebody, whoever it might be, with a stylist that's doing a shoot or an interior designer, I look at it very much as a collaborative project. So it's kind of like it's not just my work, is going in a space. I like to see how the story of my work evolves and how it grows when I meet makers or stylists or designers that are in the local community, and yeah, kind of let's collaborate. So I think it's more fun, and I feel like it gives the work more depth.